Hi, my name is Kyra.
And I'm Dean.
Welcome back to our channel.
Today we're going to be talking about the pros and the cons of retiring to Portugal.
The whole reason we feel like this was a really good move for us, and the whole reason we've started the channel is because we keep getting asked by friends and families and old neighbors, how's it really going there? What do you guys do? So part of why we are doing this is to give you all of the information.
So I'm going to start out with a pro. Moving to Portugal, you generally have a significantly lower cost of living. So food prices are overall a lot lower, especially if you shop at like the farmers markets. Restaurant prices are often lower. We've had lunch together with glasses of wine for €7. If you're going to rent or own a home, you can definitely find prices for rents and purchases that are less than you would find in areas in the United States. In some areas they're comparable, but you can find much lower priced homes here if you look. Also, our health insurance. Our health insurance for us, for the two of us, we pay €284 per month. And that gives us access to healthcare, to our doctors. We pay a minimal copay. I went to see an orthopedic doctor last week and I paid €18 for a copay. So in general, the health insurance is a lot lower than it used to be when it was taken out of my paycheck every 2 weeks. Also dental care. Dental care, the cost here for a tooth cleaning is about €62 without insurance. That included an x-ray, that included a good checkup. So in general, you're going to be paying less for some things. And a big thing also is we got a cell phone, internet, and cable package, which also includes a landline in our home and 2 cell phones. And it's about €76 per month for cable, internet, and the phones.
Yeah, for all of it. A con would be you have a very long flight. For us, I think we've talked about we are from the West Coast, from Northern California. So for us, a con is it is a super long flight back to the United States. So that's something that we sort of had to figure in. And one of the things that we've done is we do have an emergency fund. So if something happens and we need to go back and it's an emergency, we are able to make that trip.
Another good thing to do, and we've done, is we've broken up the trip because it's a 10 or 11 hour flight from Northern California to Lisbon. So what we did last time was we made a stop on the East Coast of the United States and visited some friends and family there, and then did a short 5-hour hop.
Yeah, I think it's about 5 or 6
hours.
And that helps a lot because a 6-hour flight is very different than a 10-hour flight and how you feel when you get to the end of it.
Another pro is the health care system. Separate from the health insurance, the health care, we have found that the doctors are much more attentive here. They're not just trying to rush you in and out of the office. I've had doctors spend an hour with me in their office discussing treatments. They've called me on the weekend to follow up with me. They called me on a holiday. They called Kyra after a procedure just to make sure that she was okay.
Yeah, to make sure everything was fine. How are you feeling? Is everything okay? Do you need to come back? Do you know where to come back to if you have any issues?
And all of this, again, at a lower price in general than the United States. And also, people are often surprised when we tell them that the technology here for the medical equipment is, in our experience, superior to what we were seeing in the United States. They just put more into it. I had an MRI on my knee, and it was called an external MRI. I'm sure they're available in the United States. It cost €65, and I was in and out quickly, and the results were in my doctor's office 10 minutes after the MRI was taken. And same with dental x-rays. They'll give you a 360-degree x-ray. In our experience, no extra cost, just part of the checkup. And the x-ray is there in 5 seconds, and much more advanced than any of our experiences in the United States.
Yeah, super quick service. One of the other things that we've found that would be a con, and this is something that anybody who's come to Portugal will talk to you about, is Portuguese patience. So some things are going to take just a little bit longer, especially things that are going through official channels, for you to be able to have done. So the bureaucracy, it moves very slow. And one of our examples is when we came in, we were lucky in that our visas were stamped with an appointment day, but it was the same day, the same time, but in two completely different locations. So my location was an hour from where I am in Lisbon, and Dean's location was in Porto Alegre, which is almost on the Spanish border and about 2.5 to 3 hours away. So I thought Dean was calling me, telling me he was done. It took me about 3 hours. It took him about a half hour to get everything done that we needed to get done and go through the process of getting our residency cards. So I thought for sure Dean's residency card was going to come before mine. The appointment was what? September 9th. So mine came in 3 weeks.
And right now I'm at 5.5 months and I'm still waiting.
And this is typical. We've had friends whose visas got separated. One person got the visa. It was a married couple that we know. One person got the visa right away. The other one was waiting and waiting and waiting. And it was almost 6 months, I think, by the time he finally got his visa. So these are the things that there's not really a phone number for you to call. You're just going to have to wait it out. I mean, there are some people sometimes that can tell you, oh, call this number or whatever, but a lot of times the phone just rings and rings.
And nobody will return the email. And one thing to understand about the residency card, with the residency card comes certain benefits, like lower medication prices. Diabetic supplies are virtually free. For us, I had to cancel part of a trip that we had scheduled because we thought for sure I would have my residency card, but I can't leave the country yet. So these are things that nobody outside the government has any control on.
Okay, and let me explain a little bit what we're talking about. So when you come into the country, you usually have a visa that's good for a certain amount of time. Usually it's a couple of months because they're assuming that you will get to your appointment to get your residency card by that time. So right now, since Dean's visa to enter the country, which actually happened on the 20th of June, and he now does not have that residency card, he is still waiting for that. So if he goes out and comes back, he doesn't have the residency card to show, and his visa that he originally had to come into the country in June has expired.
So basically, I run the risk if I leave the country of not being allowed back in.
Yeah. So that's where we are right now. So that's one of those Portuguese patience things that, there's not that much you can do about it. You just have to wait it out. And for people who are coming from a Western mindset, this can be really hard because in the past in the U.S., things have run, pretty smoothly. You knew if you sent your passport in, it would take this amount of time, blah, blah, blah. And it's a little bit different here And if you sometimes even talk to 3 different people, you'll get 3 different answers. So you just have to be patient and you have to wait.
And your experience may vary.
And experience may vary, yes.
Another pro is the quality of the food here. Not generally necessarily in the supermarkets, but at the farmers markets, everything is very fresh in our experience.
Mm-hmm.
Also, for food that's packaged, they don't allow GMOs in the European Union, so you have a lot fewer chemicals. And even eating out at a restaurant or cooking at home, things taste much fresher. They taste better. You can eat a vegetable that you've eaten all of your life in the United States, for example, carrots. And here they taste so much different and so much better than anything that we're used to in the United States.
And you start to think, wow, why does every meal taste like this? And then you realize that the ingredients are fresher and there's less chemicals. And so instead of tasting something that has a lot of chemicals in it, or maybe, the seeds have been altered, you're just tasting like what came out of somebody's garden, today. And none of those extra things have been added.
And also, their food packaging has a rating system from A to F that tells you how healthy what you're going to buy is.
Yeah, it's usually on snack foods.
Mm-hmm.
So cookies, chips, things like that, it'll tell you A to F. Chocolate bars, things like that. So if you're buying something that's an F, it has absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever. But if you're buying something that's an A through a C, that's reasonably decent for you. The other thing that we think is a con is that we have a time difference when you are trying to get together with friends and family. We belong to a church in Los Angeles, and we are part of the Turning Point Ministry, and we have been for several years. And during the pandemic, the church started meeting for midweek online, which was fine. It was 7:30 in the evening in Los Angeles. It was 7:30 in the evening in San Francisco. And so time-wise, that was fine. Now, meeting with our same group that we used to meet for midweek when we were in San Francisco, the time is different. So once a week, we get up and go to service or, just meet for our midweek. And usually it's a class that we do. It's usually 3:30 in the morning. And we usually meet from 3:30 usually to 4:30. Sometimes it'll run a little bit later. But this is something that we do because we love these people. We've been, meeting with these people for a few years now. And it's one of the ways that we can get to see each other and meet with each other, chat, catch up with each other's lives and all the things that are going on every week, but also to be able to pray for all the different needs that are going on within the ministry, as anybody who was a Christian would do. And so that is very important to us. But be aware, if you're not now, if you're, over 50 and you're not really using Zoom very much, that might, or any other, FaceTime, any other thing like that, you might want to get more familiar with that, because that'll be one of the ways that you keep in touch with friends. And what we do is we'll schedule regular Zoom appointments with some of our different friends, or regular times to chat. And sometimes it's inconvenient for them and sometimes it's inconvenient for you. So I would say time-wise, it's a con. It's great to be able to still keep up with people, but sometimes you're going to have to make an adjustment. So like for us on Thursdays, we're like usually taking a nap in the middle of the day because, we were up at 3:30 in the morning. So just something to keep in mind.
Another pro with Portugal in particular, but also with a lot of European cities, is the old world charm. There's just a lot of history around you. You can't avoid it because the cities here are so much older than what we have in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The buildings oftentimes are older than the United States is. So it's not uncommon to have beautiful cobblestone streets, ornate architecture on a really old building. You can drive into a town and see an ancient Roman aqueduct that's still in use. It's a warming feeling for me. I just love it. I love walking around and just looking at the history. And it's just very special. And in Portugal in particular, and also in other places in Europe, it's just abundant.
You'll see it everywhere. So another con that I would say, at least in our little town, a siren goes off at 1 o'clock every day. That's not the con, by the way. And what ends up happening is usually between 1 and 3, a lot of the businesses are closed. Not the supermarkets and not the pharmacies. But let's say if you were going to go to the butcher, if you're going to go to the baker, we've got one place that we like to go to get like sausages and cheeses, and sometimes we'll pick up olive oil or wine there. That place a lot of times is closed. I'm trying to think of
my barber.
The barber.
They're not open.
There's another wine shop that we will sometimes go to. Like everything just kind of closes down between 1 and 3. And when we were here, we started really being here full time in June, mid-June. We thought, oh, okay, well, maybe like towards the winter, things will change. No, that 1 to 3 time is always that 1 to 3 time, whether it's summer or winter. And it's just a change in how we're used to doing things. So we need to either get up really early in the morning or know what time that business is open again in the afternoon. And, like I said, going to the supermarket, no problem. But some other places, you're like, oh, wait, they're closed right now. And so it's just a mind shift that you have to go through. And the reason I say it's a con is because, for all the years we lived in the United States, we could just pretty much go to any business and blah, 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 blah. But they'll have different hours where they'll close at 1 and then they'll open again at 2 to 7, or they open again and it's like 3 to 8. So for a lot of people, that's more convenient. Like if you want to stay at home all day and get all the housework done and stuff like that, you're like, okay, at 3 o'clock, I'm going to be here, 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 and here. So you can get, errands and things done like that. So it works, but it was an adjustment when we first came.
Another pro is in Portugal, you just have really quick, inexpensive, and easy access to other countries and other cities in Europe. Very inexpensive airfare from Lisbon to Paris, or a train ride in Spain. And so really, it's easy to just pack a suitcase and go, even at the last minute. So if you want to travel, if you want to experience all of Europe or most of Europe, you could do a lot worse than having your home base be Portugal.
Yes, and that would go for any other cities in Europe that you're living in. It's pretty easy to get from one place to another. There's ferries. There's lots of different ways to get around. I would say another con is if you are one of those people that loves to order packages like at 6 a.m. and get them by noon, that won't be happening here. Your like 1-day delivery or 2-day delivery becomes like a 3 or 4-day delivery. And actually we have ordered a couple times from Amazon here. You either are ordering from Amazon Spain or Amazon Germany to get, there is no Amazon Portugal. And that is because Portuguese people don't really shop online. They go to the malls. So the mall culture is incredible. It looks like you walked into the 1980s as far as that's concerned. And you'll see people like out on a Saturday, everybody's shopping, everybody's going to the food court, and there are some huge malls here. And the mall culture is alive and kicking. So you are either ordering from Germany or you're ordering from Spain, and that's why it's not going to arrive right away. And in our experience, it'll tell us what day the package is going to arrive. And I would say 80% of the time it comes a day before or 2 days before it actually says it's going to arrive. So we never really know when the packages are coming. And we've only ordered a couple of times because we're like, okay, here we go. But if you're one of those people that can't adjust to not being able to get that package and order at 6 a.m. and have it delivered by noon or something like that, that's going to be, a con for you, and that's something for you to consider.
So we're going to round out this list with what I think is the biggest pro of living here, and that's the people. We have
Absolutely.
been welcomed. The fact that we're an interracial couple has not been an issue at all, in contrast to some of our experiences in the United States. There's a very welcoming LGBTQ community here. It's just people want you to succeed. They want you to be happy. They will bend over backwards to help you know the language. They'll laugh with you when you mess up the language. And in our experience, they welcome us into the restaurant, are patient with us because we're not fluent in Portuguese.
We are working on it.
People welcome you into their lives here. The local people and the expats welcome you into their lives. They want to be your friend. As long as an American, as long as we make the effort to meet the people here, the locals, where they're at, as long as we make the effort to try to speak the language or try to understand or ask for help, I find that we're welcomed with open arms.
I agree. And I think it is easy to make friends. In some ways, when you move abroad, it's almost like being the new kid in high school, and people are like, oh, where are you from? What's going on? How long have you been here? I thought that it would be hard to make friends, and we have actually made friends very easily. And that was very surprising. I thought it would be a lot harder than it is. So that is pretty much our pros and cons list for today. If you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for staying with us. And I did have a friend ask me, well, are you going to do any actual vistas and any actual vittles? So we do have some actual vittles where we're going to talk to some of the local restaurants here. And we do have some actual vistas where we're going to talk about some of the trips that we have been able to be on since we've been here. And we'll have a lot of new content coming up. Once again, we are Vistas and Vittles, and we are posting on Wednesdays and Sundays. We hope you have a wonderful rest of the week.
And we hope that you will like and subscribe to our channel.
And thank you for spending some time with us today.
All right, we'll see you on the road.
Okay, bye.